Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to the Monday Night Raw review. Monday Night Raw tonight was from the Little Caesars Arena in Detroit, Michigan. And this was Monday Night Raw's go-home show for SummerSlam, which is this weekend. Night 1 is on Saturday, Night 2 is on Sunday. It's going to be the first ever two-night SummerSlam in MetLife Stadium in Jersey. And how did WWE entertain us tonight with its go-home show? Did they deliver? No. WWE did not get us hyped for SummerSlam this weekend. This show was terrible tonight. What do we get on the show tonight? We had the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane, and AJ Styles. They end up taking on the Judgment Day in Dominic Mysterio and Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez in a 6-person mixed tag team match. We had Sheamus. He ended up taking on Grayson Waller. We had a 8-woman tag team match. Stephanie Vaquer, Io Sky, Nikki Bella, and Rhea Ripley. They took on the Secret Hervice, Alba Fire and Piper Niven, and Chelsea Green, and Naomi. We had the World Tag Team Championship on the line. Finn Balor and Jey McDonagh defended titles against the LWO, Joaquin Wilde and Cruz del Toro. And the main event, we had Mr. Yeet, main event Jey Uso, and he had taken on Bronson Reed. And post-match was, in my opinion, the best part of the whole show tonight, in my opinion. But Monday Night Raw, terrible show this was tonight, and WWE did nothing to hype us up for SummerSlam this weekend. But you know, with these go-home shows, they never deliver, and they just come up short and not getting the fans hyped to check out the PLE. But I'm looking forward to SummerSlam. It's got a good card, but very much looking forward to SummerSlam. But before I get into the review, next Monday, there will be no Monday Night Raw review because I will be at Raw next week at Barclays Center in Brooklyn, so I will be attend the show. Hopefully it's a much better show because the Monday Night Raw after SummerSlam, and this is the second Monday Night Raw after SummerSlam that I'm attending. The last time I attended Monday Night Raw after SummerSlam was back in 2017, which you can check out my vlog on that. You can look back on my channel and my videos, and I have a vlog from that Raw after SummerSlam where pretty much Beach Ball Mania was running wild at that show. But let's jump right into the review. Monday Night Raw opened up tonight, and we saw all the superstars on the stage. And this was in memory of Hulk Hogan. Superstars came out on stage to pay tribute to Hulk Hogan, which we lost Hogan on Thursday. Died from cardiac arrest at 71. We saw Eric Bischoff there, who was Hulk Hogan's business partner. They were in WCW together. Nick Hogan, Hulk Hogan's son, was also there. And Nick Hogan was there with his wife. We had Triple H. He wasn't on the stage like how he was on SmackDown, which they did the tribute on SmackDown as well this past Friday. Which I did not watch SmackDown because I had a power outage here in my area due to a thunderstorm that rolled through. But Triple H, we heard him through audio. He ended up saying that we've lost one of the biggest and most globally recognized icons in the world. And a lot of people, are calling Hulk Hogan the Babe Ruth of pro wrestling. And Triple H ended up saying that it's a man he grew up watching and was fortunate enough to share the ring with. Of course, you had Triple H. He had his feud with Hulk Hogan back in the day. So that was around 2002. After Hogan left the NWO and he brought back the red and yellow, Triple H ended up saying that he also called Hogan a friend. He ended up saying that Hogan captivated millions of people and inspired them worldwide. Without a doubt, Hulkamania was running wild in the 80s. There were big fans of Hogan. People dressed up as Hogan. And even some of the superstars that we see today probably were inspired by Hulk Hogan and for them to become a professional wrestler. So Triple H ended up saying that we would not be standing here without Hogan. So they did the 10-bell salute to Hulk Hogan. Of course, his real name was Terry Bollea. So we had the 10-bell salute. Crowd ended up chanting Hogan, which of course rightfully deserving. And then it cut to a tribute video package of Hulk Hogan and honoring him. And WWE did a really fantastic, great job with this tribute video package honoring Hulk Hogan. It was just really well done. They put a lot of effort into this tribute video, and it was just absolutely great. So we saw all that. Good thing that they did it on Friday, the day after he passed, and they did it tonight on Monday Night Raw. And then we went to the first segment. As Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, we had Mr. Yeet, main event Jey Uso. He came out. The crowd ended up popping for Jey there in Detroit. He brought Detroit to its feet. And of course, this Saturday at SummerSlam, he will be teaming up with his cousin Roman Reigns to take on Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker, which should be a banger of a match there. And of course, Jey Uso ended up battling Bronson Reed later on in the night, which was the main event of Monday Night Raw. So the crowd was going crazy for Jey. So Jey ended up wanting to run it back and yeet again with the crowd, but it was interrupted by Paul Heyman. As Paul Heyman walked out to the stage, the crowd ended up booing the hell out of Paul Heyman. So Paul Heyman tried to do his "Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman," but the crowd booed Paul Heyman down. So Paul Heyman, this was funny. This made me laugh. He was like, "Oh, my name is not Boo." So Paul Heyman ended up saying that he's not here to be disrespectful to Jey Uso, even though he's in the main event tonight against Bronson Reed. Paul Heyman ended up saying that he is here to speak man to man, a former Bloodline member to another former Bloodline member in Jey Uso. Paul Heyman ended up saying that he wanted to speak from the heart. Towards the crowd there in Detroit ended up chanting OTC. Paul Heyman ended up saying that he wants to speak from the heart in front of a worldwide audience about family. And this was pretty much Paul Heyman's promo here during this segment. It's about family. So Paul Heyman ended up going to get into the ring. He saw the look in Jey Uso's eyes, and he got scared. Paul Heyman ended up backing away from the ring. Paul Heyman ended up saying that he cannot believe that Jey accepted his cousin's invitation to team with him this Saturday at SummerSlam against Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. He ended up saying that Jey is doing it all in the name of family. Heyman ended up saying that he emphasizes family in a derogatory way. He ended up saying that family is always going to let you down and get you in trouble. So Paul Heyman was like, trust the Oracle. He ended up saying that is not a prediction. That's a prophecy. So Paul Heyman ended up saying that he can see Jey Uso isn't buying into what he's telling him. He ended up saying that he wants to lay this one on Jey. He ended up saying to Jey, oh, when you were a kid, did your mother ever tell you it was Santa Claus that left the presents underneath the tree? And I'm like, when Paul Heyman was saying this, I'm like, really? We're going into a cheesy, awful, saying here with Paul Heyman. Oh, did your mother tell you that Santa Claus left presents underneath the tree? And then Paul Heyman's like, oh, because he didn't. He ended up saying that Jey's mother lied to him. And then Paul Heyman was like, oh, everyone's mothers lied to them too. And I'm like, really? This is where they're going with this? This was awful. So we had Paul Heyman ended up saying, except for the Jewish ones, because his tribe knows better. Paul Heyman was like, oh, did your father tell him that he wanted him to become more iconic than he was? He was like to Jey, oh, is that what Rikishi told you? He ended up saying that Rikishi doesn't want that. And that Rikishi lied to him too. Paul Heyman ended up saying that when Roman Reigns was going to pick the next in line for the tribal chief, he didn't pick Jey. He picked Solo Sikoa. So Paul Heyman was like, oh, how did that work for the family? Now, Roman thinks he would have been a better choice for the tribal chief. Paul Heyman was like, oh, did he tell Jey that Reigns wants him to be as rich, famous, and as big as he is? He ended up saying that if Roman Reigns said that to Jey, Roman Reigns lied to him too. So Paul Heyman ended up saying that he isn't saying this out of anger or malice, and that he is saying this because he loves Jey, which that led Jey to look all conflicted by what Paul Heyman was saying there. Paul Heyman ended up saying that he loves Jey, just like family. And then Paul Heyman ended up yelling, "Yeet!" That was how Paul Heyman ended up saying it, and that made me laugh. So Paul Heyman then dropped the mic, and he bowed to Jey, to which the crowd was buying none of this from Paul Heyman. They were chanting, bullshit, bullshit. So Jey then paced around the ring. He finally got on the mic. He ended up saying that family is why he's here. Jey ended up saying that he will tell Paul Heyman one more time not to run his mouth about his family. Jey ended up saying that he will put up for his family every time. He ended up saying that that bloodline still runs deep in his veins. He ended up saying that Paul Heyman is out here talking crap and disrespecting him. Jey ended up saying that he did all these things because he wanted to prove it to himself. He ended up saying that he won the World Heavyweight Championship to prove it to himself, and that it had nothing to do with Roman. So Jey was like, oh, well, speaking of family, where's yours, Paul Heyman? So Jey ended up saying that they brought Paul Heyman into his family. So Jey was like, oh, here's what's going to happen. He ended up saying that Paul Heyman screwed his cousin at WrestleMania. He ended up saying that his boy screwed him out of the World Heavyweight Championship. Jey ended up saying whatever happens tonight and SummerSlam is on Paul Heyman's ass. So Jey did his, his whole shtick, 4 letters, 1 word, yeet. So Jey ended up saying that we're going to run this shit back. So pretty much that was basically that. Jey ended up dancing. He started celebrating as the fans started yeeting away. And that was pretty much how the segment ended. But overall, I thought this was just a very flat promo from Paul Heyman. I mean, it's not his fault. It's how creative wrote this for Paul Heyman. He goes into saying, it's all about family. And then goes into, talking about Santa Claus, and, did your mother tell you that Santa Claus left the presents underneath a tree? Because he didn't, because he doesn't exist. So I'm like, really? That's where we went with this promo here? Awful. And then we had the first match of the night. 6-person mixed tag team match. The Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane, and AJ Styles. They have taken on the Judgment Day of Dominic Mysterio and Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez. And this was a okay match here. I don't know if anybody saw this, but over the weekend I saw the video of Dominic Mysterio as he was in AAA, and the crowd really popped for him. I thought that was really cool to see. So the match got underway as the Judgment Day finished their entrance. Dominic ended up getting a cheap shot in on Styles. So Styles ended up wanting Dominic. Dominic wanted no part. He didn't want anything to do with Styles, so he quickly tagged out to Raquel Rodriguez. Asuka then came in, so Raquel and Asuka ended up going at it. Asuka applied a side headlock, but Raquel ended up pushing Asuka off. Asuka then drop kicked Raquel, and she went right to attack Roxanne Perez. So Raquel grabbed Asuka. Asuka ended up elbowing out, and she started striking away at Raquel. Asuka then kicked Raquel in the face, and she followed up with a super kick. Kairi then tagged in, and we had the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane. They tried to whip Raquel, but Raquel, did not do anything. She put the brakes on. She ended up sending both of the Kabuki Warriors to the ropes. The Kabuki Warriors came back. They ended up striking away at Raquel. They ended up delivering stereo drop kicks to Raquel. We had Kairi end up going for the cover, and Raquel kicked out. Kairi then ended up going to the top rope for a crossbody block, but Kairi got caught by Raquel. Roxanne ended up tagging in. Raquel ended up hitting Snake Eyes to Kairi. Raquel then ended up hitting Roxanne Perez with a fallaway slam into Kairi Sane, and we had Perez end up going for the cover, and Kairi kicked out. Perez then ended up slinging Kairi Sane down onto the canvas a few times. Kairi came back. She ended up reversing the whip into the ropes. She ended up hitting a head scissors takeover. She then took Roxanne Perez down by her hair. Kairi started delivering some chops to Perez's chest. And Kairi then connected with a corner drop kick to Perez. Kairi ended up going for a sliding forearm, but Dominic pulled Roxanne Perez away. So at ringside, Raquel then delivered a big boot to Kairi Sane on the floor. And so Monday Night Raw went to commercial. Then when Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Raquel was in control of the match. She ended up stopping Kairi from making a tag, and she ended up hitting Kairi with a clothesline. Raquel then ended up hitting Kairi with a slingshot suplex. Roxanne Perez tagged in. She ended up hitting a double jump springboard moonsault onto Kairi. So she went for the cover, and Asuka broke up the pin. Kairi started punching back at Perez, but Perez ended up cutting Kairi off. She then ended up sending Kairi into the ropes. Kairi then ducked the clothesline from Perez, and she delivered a spear to Perez. Raquel then ended up sneaking around the ring and pulled Asuka off the apron before Asuka could be tagged in. Dominic then ended up hitting Styles with a cheap shot, which that infuriated Styles. Kairi then ended up kicking Perez away. She ended up hitting a wheelbarrow stunner to Perez. Raquel immediately ended up tagging in and grabbed Kairi. Kairi then ended up sliding off and avoided attack in the corner, which sent Raquel's shoulder first into the ring post. This led to AJ Styles end up tagging in. Dominic, of course, had to come in. So Styles and Dominic end up going at it. Styles ended up bringing Dominic into the ring the hard way. He lifted Dominic up with a strike combo. Styles then ended up delivering a clothesline to Dominic, which turned Dominic inside out. Styles then followed up with a sliding forearm. He then hit a leaping corner clothesline to Dominic, which Styles followed that leaping corner clothesline, with a Ushigoroshi. Styles ended up going to the apron. He sized up Dominic, but Perez ended up standing in Dominic's way. Styles ended up getting in the ring and approached Perez. Dominic ended up going for a cheap shot, but Styles avoided that. He ended up hitting Dominic with a Pele kick. Styles then leapfrogged Perez, sending her out of the ring. Asuka then ended up wiping Perez out with a sliding drop kick. Asuka then delivered a kick to Raquel in her face. And this was a awesome spot here in the match where Kairi hit the ropes. Styles catapulted Kairi out of the ring, and she delivered an insane elbow on Raquel. Great spot there from Kairi. So Styles ended up going to the apron. He ended up hitting Dominic with a phenomenal forearm. He ended up going for the cover, and there you go. AJ Styles and the Kabuki Warriors ended up winning the match. Overall, match was okay, in my opinion. And then we saw Jackie Redmond. Jackie Redmond congratulated Sheamus on winning his match last week, where he ended up defeating Rusev. And this interview was conducted earlier in the day. So Grayson Waller and the New Day. The New Day was still dressed in black, mourning their loss of the World Tag Team Championship. And I don't know about you guys, but Xavier Woods with the black hat and him wearing, the black shirt, tell me he did not look like Brian Keith from Dynamite. I'm watching, I'm like, wait a minute, is that Xavier Woods? Or how did Brian Keith sign with WWE already? I swear, Xavier Woods looked like Brian Keith here. Watch this interview back, and then tell me if he looked like Brian Keith there. So Waller ended up saying to Sheamus that he dumped Austin Theory, and he wants to take it to Sheamus. Sheamus ended up saying that Waller is like an infection, and he was like, "Oh, I'm excited to take on you." So Waller then turned around, and he saw that the New Day wasn't behind him. So pretty much that was basically that. And as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, we had the match, Sheamus versus Grayson Waller. This was a banger of a match here, as Sheamus would call it. So the match got underway. Sheamus ended up scaring Waller back. Waller put himself through the ropes to keep Sheamus away from him. Waller then quickly blindsided Sheamus, but Sheamus ended up shoving Waller away, and Sheamus delivered a hammer throw to Waller. Sheamus then uppercutted Waller and sent him into the corner. Waller then ended up hitting a Rolling Thunder flatliner to Sheamus. Waller then ended up wrenching Sheamus' arm, but Sheamus blocked the whip from Waller and ended up sending Waller to the corner. Waller then tried to slingshot over Sheamus, but Sheamus caught Waller and delivered a power slam. Sheamus then applied the Dublin Smile as he was ripping away at Waller's face. I always love when Sheamus does that Dublin Smile and just stretches, his opponent's face. Like, I can't do it, but whenever Sheamus does that to his opponents must have, good cheekbones. So Waller ended up going to the apron. He slapped Sheamus in the face, which ticked off Sheamus. Sheamus ended up going to the outside to attack Waller, but Waller got into the ring. Waller ended up hitting a baseball slide. He ended up going to attack Sheamus, but Sheamus slapped Waller in the face. Sheamus then lifted Waller onto his shoulders, and he delivered a rolling senton to Waller on the floor. So Sheamus ended up shouting to the fans, "Are you not entertained?" And the fans just, cheered. Sheamus ended up getting Waller in the ring, but Waller ended up kneeing Sheamus in the face. Waller ended up bouncing Sheamus off the turnbuckle, and he delivered a satellite DDT over the top rope to the apron. Waller then ended up getting Sheamus in the ring. He ended up going for a Rolling Thunder, but Sheamus ended up giving him a knee caper to Waller. Sheamus then had Waller on the apron. He ended up delivering the 10 beats of Bodhrán on Waller. Sheamus then sized Waller up to deliver the bro kick, but Rusev ended up coming in. Rusev ended up going for a blindside attack to which Sheamus saw coming. So Sheamus then clotheslined Rusev off the apron. Waller then pulled Sheamus into the ring, and he rolled him up, to which Sheamus kicked out at 2. Sheamus immediately responded back, and he delivered the bro kick to Waller. So Sheamus ended up going for the cover, and he ended up winning the match. Post-match, Rusev immediately ended up hitting Sheamus in his spine with the shillelagh. Rusev then started beating Sheamus with the shillelagh as the crowd loudly booed him. The ref pulled the shillelagh away. Rusev ended up putting Sheamus in the accolade. So the ref was doing everything he could for Rusev to break up the accolade on Sheamus. So the ref ended up calling for help. Refs ended up trying to run down to pull Rusev off of Sheamus. The refs couldn't even pull Rusev off of Sheamus. Rusev then voluntarily released the accolade. And he had this psychotic look on his face as he stood over Sheamus. So that was pretty much basically that. But overall, this was a banger of a match against Sheamus and Grayson Waller. And the stuff that they're doing with Sheamus and Rusev, really am liking it. And then we saw Jackie Redmond. Jackie Redmond was backstage with the Women's World Champion, Naomi. So Jackie Redmond ended up asking Naomi about facing Rhea Ripley and Io Sky, and how Naomi is preparing, knowing that Rhea and Io would be prepared for her this time. So Naomi wasn't happy that Jackie Redmond asked that question to her. Naomi ended up saying that she is not passive-aggressive. She's aggressive. Naomi ended up saying that she doesn't care who you throw at her. Whether it's the past, present, or future of the division, she'll take them all out. Naomi ended up saying that when she walks out of SummerSlam and proves all the haters wrong, they can't say they weren't warned to proceed with caution. And that pretty much basically was that, as Naomi ended up laughing away. Really am enjoying what they're doing with Naomi. I love this version of Naomi. And then we saw a sneak peek of WWE Unreal, which is premiering tomorrow on Netflix, which I will be watching. Been looking forward to this ever since I saw the teaser for it. And this is going to be entertaining. I might do a review of the episodes, but that's to come. possibly. So then we had another video package where superstars reflect on the life and legacy of Hulk Hogan. Logan Paul in this video package ended up saying that there was only one Hulk Hogan, and that he was such a larger-than-life character and person, and that it doesn't make sense that he's not here anymore. AJ Styles ended up saying that Hulk Hogan was the guy when it came to pro wrestling, and that is true. He's the reason the WWE is what it is today. And I forgot to say in the video package that we saw earlier, they did show Hogan and Vince McMahon. Of course, Vince McMahon is the guy that created Hulk Hogan. He's the reason why Hogan got over and became one of the biggest stars in the industry. So, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, WWE Hall of Famer, hey-o! He ended up saying that he lost a mentor and an icon. Of course, you have WWE Hall of Famer Jimmy Hart, who was best friends with Hogan. He ended up saying that Hogan loved wrestling and the fans. Natalya ended up saying that Hogan transcended pro wrestling and moved to pop culture. Jey Uso ended up saying that Hogan is the reason they're here today. The Miz ended up saying that Hogan is on the Mount Rushmore of pro wrestling, and that he left a legacy. Yeah, Hulk Hogan is on the Mount Rushmore of wrestling. I mean, my Mount Rushmore of 80s WWE stars would have to be Bret Hart, Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, Roddy Piper, and Macho Man Randy Savage. That would be my 80s WWE Mount Rushmore of stars. So, and then Cody Rhodes ended up saying that Hogan is the model for WWE superstars. And that it's cool to be a wrestler, but it's different to be a superstar. He ended up saying that their Babe Ruth isn't with them anymore. And what I really liked is that in remembrance of Hogan, WWE is going to donate all the proceeds of the Hulk Hogan Legacy Collection to his family, which they are selling that right now on WWE Shop. So if you buy the Hulk Hogan Legacy Collection, all those proceeds will go to Hogan's family, which that is a very good thing. So I'm glad that WWE is donating all those proceeds to his family in honor of Hogan's legacy. But it was a good package with superstars reflecting on the life and legacy of Hulk Hogan. And then we saw Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed was backstage with Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman ended up saying that he hears that Jey Uso's family thinks they're nothing more than a group without a leader, since Seth Rollins is out for an extended period of time. Braun Breaker ended up saying that they now have a leader. Breaker ended up saying that Bronson Reed is going to destroy and tsunami Jey Uso, and that they'll show total control over WWE. He ended up saying that it starts tonight with Bronson Reed. Bronson ended up saying that tonight, Jey Uso and any member of his family, I'm going to lead down, out, and tsunami. So Bronson Reed walked off. Paul Heyman was like, oh, that worked. So Breaker ended up saying that he has a plan. And Paul Heyman looked all confused about that. So we will see that plan come into fruition later on. And then we saw Lyra Valkyria. Lyra Valkyria ended up making her way down to the ring. Of course, she's going to battle Becky Lynch for the Intercontinental Championship in a no disqualification, no countout match at SummerSlam. So Lyra greeted the crowd in Detroit. She ended up pointing out the shoes that she was wearing, calling them big shoes. She ended up saying that these shoes are Becky stompers. Ugh. Ugh. Yeah, Becky stompers. Awful. So Lyra did not know that SummerSlam was this weekend where she botched. She was like, in 2 weeks, no, 1 week, I'll be standing here as the 2-time Women's Intercontinental Champion. Or she will have failed and never again be able to challenge for the title as long as Becky is the champion. Lyra ended up saying that if that happens, she won't be standing at all. She ended up saying that Becky will have to beat her into the ground if she wants to walk out of SummerSlam with the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Lyra ended up saying that she knows Becky doesn't like to play by the rules, and that's how she beat her for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Lyra ended up saying that she wants to try it Becky's way. She ended up saying that you can't break the rules if there are no rules to break. She ended up saying some might think she's playing into Becky's hands, but she's seen everything Becky has ever done. She ended up saying that she knows what Becky is capable of, but Becky doesn't know what she is capable of. Lyra ended up saying that she doesn't even know what she's capable of, and she's prepared to go to a place she's never been before. And that led to Becky Lynch coming out. Becky Lynch interrupted Lyra. Lyra was waiting for Becky. She turned and she ended up hitting Becky with a wrecking ball drop kick. Becky was going to blindside Lyra with the kendo stick, but Lyra ended up cutting Becky off. Lyra then ended up taking the kendo stick. She ended up hitting Becky with the kendo stick a few times. Becky got into the ring. She ended up taking the kendo stick, but Lyra blocked it. Lyra ended up going for the Nightwing, but Becky ended up getting out of the ring and she retreated, and pretty much that was basically that. Awful segment this was. Lyra, her promo here was just absolutely cringe and awful. I mean, Becky stompers, the shoes that, she was wearing, she was calling the shoes Becky stompers. What the fuck? And then we had an interview. Corey Graves interviewed Sami Zayn. And Corey Graves ended up saying that Sami and Karrion Kross have been at odds, which comes to a head this weekend at SummerSlam. So Corey Graves ended up asking Sami, what are you hoping to accomplish? Sami ended up saying that he's hoping to be done with Karrion Kross once and for all. He ended up saying that Kross is obsessed with him. He ended up saying that Kross wants some warped truth from him. But Sami ended up saying that he doesn't care. It's impeded him. Sami ended up saying that it's standing in the way of him achieving his goals, and that he wants to be a world champion. He ended up saying that Kross has to be finished at SummerSlam. So Karrion Kross and Scarlett end up interrupting the interview. Kross ended up telling Graves to go away. Kross ended up saying that he had the idea to hit Sami in his injured ribs with a steel pipe again, but then he thought Sami wouldn't make it to SummerSlam. He ended up saying that doesn't work for him. Kross ended up saying that he usually gets everyone in the company to show their true colors, except Sami, and that it's pissing him off. Kross ended up saying that when he beats Sami at SummerSlam, he'll get Sami to say, he told the truth. Kross told the truth. Then he'll go away and Sami can be world champion. Kross ended up saying that Sami is no different than anyone else and is no better than him. Scarlett then gave Kross the pipe. Kross then gave the pipe to Sami. Sami ended up saying that Kross thinks he's a puppet master. What do you really want? Sami ended up saying that if Kross beats him at SummerSlam, he'll say whatever it is he wants him to say. Sami was like, oh, maybe Kross will be wrong about everything, even himself. Sami ended up saying that when he beats Kross at SummerSlam, because he will do that, Kross will look at him and say that he was wrong. Sami then gave the pipe back to Cross. He ended up saying to Cross, "I'll see you at SummerSlam." And then Sami walked off. Cross then was shown cradling the pipe, and he smiled, and pretty much that was basically that. But really, I'm looking forward to seeing Sami Zayn and Cross go at it at SummerSlam. Should be a good match. And then we saw Jackie Redmond. Jackie Redmond was backstage with Bayley. Jackie Redmond ended up saying to Bayley that she isn't slated to appear at SummerSlam. And what's next for her? Bayley ended up telling Jackie Redmond that she lost her opportunity at the Women's Intercontinental Championship and the Women's Tag Team titles. She ended up saying that she already missed WrestleMania and is now missing SummerSlam. She ended up saying for the first time in her career, she's at a loss for words. So Bayley then walked off, and Jackie Redmond was wondering if she ever seen Bayley looking this loss. Sorry, Bayley deserves better. And I'm a huge Bayley fan, and this absolutely sucks for Bayley. Like I said, she deserves better. Not being on WrestleMania, missing WrestleMania, and is now off of SummerSlam. And then we had the 8-woman tag team match. Naomi, Chelsea Green, and the Secret Hervice, Alba Fyre and Piper Niven. They took on Io Sky, Stephanie Vaquer, Nikki Bella, which I don't know why she is put into this match. Yeah, she's having the feud with Chelsea Green and the Secret Hervice, but I was like, since Nikki Bella was appearing at Evolution, I thought this would be a one and done for Nikki Bella. You know, when she appeared in the Evolution Battle Royal, I thought that would just be it for Nikki Bella. But no. Yeah, we're seeing Nikki Bella in the ring in 2025. And also Rhea Ripley was in the match here. And this was, a decent 8-woman tag team match here. Not great or perfect by any means. So Naomi started off the match against Rhea Ripley. Naomi ended up sliding under a big boot, and she started clubbing away at Rhea, to which Rhea, when she came out, she got a huge pop from the crowd there in Detroit. Rhea Ripley is mega over, which is great. So Naomi ended up stomping on Rhea's spine. Naomi hit the ropes. Rhea ended up grabbing Naomi, and she ended up hitting a pair of short arm clotheslines to Naomi. Rhea then slammed Naomi onto her face. Naomi then tagged Chelsea Green in, to which Chelsea wasn't happy. Chelsea was getting all nervous. Rhea then tagged Nikki Bella in, and Nikki Bella ended up hitting Chelsea Green with a desk press, and she started punching away at Chelsea. Nikki Bella ended up hitting a face buster. She ended up driving Chelsea into her Secret Hervice and Alba Fyre and Piper Niven. Nikki Bella ended up rolling Chelsea up, to which Chelsea kicked out. Nikki ended up connecting with a spine buster to Chelsea. Chelsea quickly scurried out of the ring. Nikki ended up chasing Chelsea around the ring. Chelsea then started kicking Nikki away, and she tagged Alba Fyre in. Nikki ended up forearming Alba Fyre and ended up attacking Chelsea. Alba Fyre then super kicked Nikki Bella down. Alba Fyre ended up sending Nikki Bella into a punch from Piper Niven. Piper Niven tagged in, and she delivered an elbow drop to Nikki, to which she ended up going for the cover, and Nikki kicked out. And as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Naomi was in control of the match. She ended up applying a rear chinlock to Nikki. Nikki ended up getting out of that chinlock with a snapmare to Naomi. Naomi pulled Nikki away from her corner, and she ended up hitting a bulldog into the middle turnbuckle. And Naomi ended up mocking Nikki's, gyration that she does. Naomi then ended up talking trash, so Nikki ended up kicking and elbowing Naomi back. Nikki then came off the middle turnbuckle with a flying kick to Naomi. At this point, Io Sky and Alba Fire end up tagging in. Io and Alba end up going at it. Io end up hitting some uppercuts and a drop kick to Alba Fire. Io end up going for a German suplex, but Alba Fire end up doing a stand switch to Io. Io countered out of a German suplex with a roll through. She followed up with a double stomp to Alba. Alba ended up reversing the whip, but Io ended up pulling the ropes and she booted Alba. Naomi ended up going for an attack, but Io ended up punching Naomi down. Alba Fire ended up attacking Io from behind and tagged Chelsea in. Io ended up doing a handspring through Alba Fire and Chelsea Green, and she ended up drop kicking Alba. So Stephanie Vaquer ended up coming in later on, and we saw Stephanie Vaquer end up hitting a back suplex to Chelsea Green. She then delivered the Devil's Kiss, which we all love seeing from Stephanie Vaquer. And she ended up doing the Devil's Kiss to Chelsea. So Stephanie ended up going for the cover, and Alba Fire broke up the pin. At the end of the match, we had Piper Niven and Rhea Ripley end up going face to face. Rhea then headbutted Piper Niven, and she delivered the Riptide. Chelsea then slapped Rhea in the face, but that just angered Rhea. So Stephanie ended up grabbing Chelsea, and she ended up hitting the SVB, the Stephanie Vaquer bomb. And there you go. Io Sky, Stephanie Vaquer, Nikki Bella, and Rhea Ripley ended up winning the match. Just, they need to rename Stephanie Vaquer's, finisher. I don't like the name SVB, the Stephanie Vaquer bomb. They need to rename it. It sounds awful. The SVB. But overall, decent match it was. Not great or perfect by any means. And then we went to the Judgment Day Clubhouse. Finn Balor and Jey McDonagh end up thinking that they need to rally the troops. Balor ended up saying that's just one night. He ended up saying that everyone thought they were done when they got rid of both Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest. He ended up saying that they've got all the gold and they are stronger than ever. So Dominic ended up asking if they need help. Balor ended up telling Dominic to chill. So Roxanne Perez ended up giving Dominic a Nintendo Switch, to which Dominic was impressed. So Raquel ended up saying that Liv Morgan also enjoys playing 2K25. So Dominic was like, oh, let's call Liv. So that was that. So, yeah, Dominic gets a Nintendo Switch. And then, as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, we saw Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Stephanie Vaquer, and Nikki Bella. They all end up high-fiving backstage. Io then ended up holding Rhea back. Rhea ended up saying to Io that they're friends right now. But at SummerSlam, she'll finally have Io's number. Io ended up saying that Rhea has never beaten her, and never will. To which Rhea was like, we'll see about that. There you go. Io and Rhea coexisted in the tag team match here. So that's a shock that they coexisted. Because going into this 8-woman tag that we saw, I had to do the whole Vince McMahon and be like, can Rhea and Io coexist? So now we had the World Tag Team Championship match. The LWO, Cruz del Toro and Joaquin Wilde versus the Judgment Day, Finn Balor and Jey McDonagh. Predictable match. We all knew who was going to win this match. Of course, it was the Judgment Day, Finn Balor and Jey McDonagh. They still retained the World Tag Team Championships because we had El Grande Americano. He ended up running down. He got a big reaction. Of course, it's Ludwig Kaiser under the mask. So Dragon Lee pulled El Grande Americano off the apron, and him and El Grande Americano ended up brawling to the back. We had Balor end up catching Cruz del Toro with an inside cradle, to which Cruz del Toro ended up kicking out. Cruz del Toro ended up going to the top rope. Now we have a different El Grande Americano out there. This El Grande Americano ended up crotching Del Toro. So El Grande Americano 2, he ended up leaving through the crowd. Balor ended up hitting Del Toro with a coup de grace, and that was how Balor and McDonagh end up retaining the World Tag Team Championship. So now we have 2 El Grande Americanos. This second El Grande Americano looked a little like Pete Dunne. If you see a picture, you can tell by the face that it looks like Pete Dunne. And I'm like, wow, what a great way to bring back Pete Dunne. Make him a second El Grande Americano. Jeez, this El Grande Americano shit has got to end. Ever since this was done, this El Grande Americano, and you had Chad Gable, portray him, I'm like, this whole El Grande Americano shit reeks of Vince McMahon. This is something that Vince McMahon would have done. This El Grande Americano shit sucks. And then we had Gunther, the ring general, the World Heavyweight Champion. He made his way down to the ring to call out CM Punk. So the crowd was chanting for Punk as Gunther stood in the ring. Gunther then told the crowd to calm down because last week was a clean victory for him. Gunther ended up saying that he went toe-to-toe on the mic with the supposed best talker in the business, the best in the world. Gunther ended up saying that he looked him straight in the eye and told him what was going to happen at SummerSlam. Gunther ended up saying that he left the voice of the voiceless speechless. Gunther ended up saying that he may have, but he's not running out of things to say about CM Punk because the crowd was chanting, "You tapped out" to Gunther. So Gunther ended up saying last week, he told Punk that he doesn't deserve to call himself the best in the world. He ended up saying that he made it clear that Punk would never be the world champion. And most importantly, he made CM Punk shut the hell up. So CM Punk ended up coming out. Big reaction, of course, for Punk. So Punk got on the mic. Punk ended up asking Gunther, speechless? No more. Dumbfounded. He ended up saying that it wasn't anything Gunther said. He ended up saying in that moment, it dawned on him, as he stood across the ring from someone as great as Gunther, that he didn't want to be World Heavyweight Champion. And Gunther was looking all confused here. Punk ended up saying that I need to be World Heavyweight Champion. Punk ended up saying that he needs it as much as he needs air in his lungs, and that he needs to be the World Heavyweight Champion, just as he needs his heart to pump blood through his veins. Punk ended up saying that he needs it, like the Detroit Red Wings need a 12th Stanley Cup. Punk ended up saying that he needs it, like a Midwest dad needs a cold one. He ended up saying to Gunther that he doesn't drink, but he knows addiction. He ended up saying that this place is his addiction. Punk ended up saying that he needs to lift the World Heavyweight Championship over his head as a thank you to the millions of people who have chanted his name for over 10 years. Punk ended up saying that it might not mean anything to Gunther, but it means the world to him. Punk ended up saying that he needs to be the World Heavyweight Champion. Punk ended up saying for as great as Gunther is, he thinks that he doesn't deserve to call himself the best in the world. Of course, Gunther saying Punk doesn't deserve to be called the best in the world. To which Punk was like, oh, well, Gunther's correct. Maybe I don't deserve it. And that he earned the right to call himself that. Punk ended up saying that he can be arrogant about it. He ended up saying that Gunther is out here as the World Heavyweight Champion, being as arrogant as he is, but he can't back it up. Punk ended up saying that he has left a trail of bodies of Hall of Famers, legends, and superstars that Gunther has only dreamed of being in the ring with. So Gunther ended up going to tell Punk to shut up But Punk stopped Gunther. Punk ended up saying to Gunther, I wasn't finished. There's levels to this, kid, and you're going to find out a hard lesson at the SummerSlam on Saturday, that you are not on my level. Punk ended up saying that on Saturday night, he's leaving as the World Heavyweight Champion. He ended up saying at least Gunther will know what it's like to share the ring with the best in the world. So pretty much that was basically that. But I thought this was a enjoyable segment here with Gunther and Punk here. Looking forward to the match. And then we had Jackie Redmond. Jackie Redmond sat down with Jelly Roll ahead of his SummerSlam match where he's going to be teaming with Randy Orton to take on Drew McIntyre, possibility, maybe not, and Logan Paul. And Jelly Roll responded with, fuck Logan Paul. Now, the reason why I say possibility with Drew McIntyre, and the only reason why I say that is because Drew McIntyre is reportedly stuck in the UK, and it's visa issues with Drew McIntyre. So Drew McIntyre ended up saying that he has a good chance of missing SummerSlam. And if he misses SummerSlam, The Miz ended up coming out and announcing to volunteer to replace Drew McIntyre at SummerSlam. Please, if The Miz is going to team up with Logan Paul to take on Randy Orton and Jelly Roll, please just cancel the match. Nobody wants to see The Miz team with Logan Paul. If that is the case, just cancel the match. We don't need to see The Miz be a replacement to Drew McIntyre and teaming up with Logan Paul. You know, Drew McIntyre can't make it to SummerSlam, just cancel the match or postpone it. Main event, Jey Uso, Mr. Yeet, versus Bronson Reed. Now, the match ended in a disqualification because Braun Breaker ended up running down and he delivered a spear to Jey. The ref called for the bell, so Jey won the match by disqualification, which basically nothing special or good happened in this match here. So the crowd, post-match, immediately started to chant OTC. Braun Breaker put Jey in the ring. Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed began to double team on Jey. And Roman Reigns ended up coming out. Roman Reigns got a big ovation there in Detroit. Reigns took his time, headed to the ring. Reigns then ended up snapping Bronson Reed off the top rope, and he started punching away at Braun Breaker. Roman then clotheslined Breaker over the top rope. Reigns then tried to lift Bronson Reed for the Samoan drop, but he couldn't get Bronson Reed up. So Reigns then sidestepped Bronson Reed. He ended up sending Reed shoulder first into the ring post. Reigns ended up helping his cousin up as the crowd ended up chanting OTC. Braun Breaker got on the apron. Jey then super kicked Breaker down. Reigns then ended up hitting Reed with the Superman punch. Reigns got the crowd fired up. So both Reigns and Jey got out of the ring. They ran around the ring on opposite sides, but Braun Breaker speared Reigns on the outside. What a spear that Breaker delivered to Reigns. Bronson Reed then avalanched Jey down. Reed put Jey in the ring, and Reed ended up holding Jey up for Braun Breaker to hit a spear, to which he did. So Bronson Reed headed to the top rope. He delivered the tsunami to Jey. Paul Heyman was at ringside. He was loving what he was seeing. He was loving all this. So Reigns started to pull himself up. Breaker saw Reigns getting up. So he ended up going to the apron. He dove off the apron with a clothesline to Reigns over the commentary table. Breaker then jumped onto the commentary table and he started posing. Breaker then lifted Reigns and threw him into the ring. Breaker pointed to the top rope as Bronson Reed headed up to the top. So Bronson Reed ended up delivering the tsunami to Reigns. Breaker and Bronson Reed stood tall over Reigns as Paul Heyman held the Money in the Bank briefcase up. Rollins' Money in the Bank briefcase. Breaker ended up saying that this is his ring. He ended up saying all the fat asses in the crowd bark for him. Breaker then pulled Reigns up and he threw him out of the ring. Breaker then started to crack his neck. He got out of the ring. Breaker then ended up running around the ring, and Jey and Reigns were by the barricade. Breaker ran around the ring, and he delivered a massive spear to both Jey and Reigns through the barricade. So Breaker and Bronson Reed stood tall over Jey and Roman. So Reed then pulled Reigns' sneakers off. He ended up saying these sneakers belonged to him. They were like Jordans, white Jordans. So Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker, and Paul Heyman posed in the ring, and that was how Monday Night Raw went off the air. But in my opinion, this was the only best thing on the show here. Just really enjoyed this whole Breaker and Bronson Reed, punching the hell, being down on Jey and Roman to hype up their match at SummerSlam. But overall, Monday Night Raw, just a terrible show it was. It wasn't awful, but just terrible, in my opinion. And it did nothing to hype us up for SummerSlam this weekend. But anyway, that's it for the Monday Night Raw review. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoy this review. Definitely give the video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and be sure to tune in tomorrow on my buddy Luke Ponto's channel as we do another episode of The Movie Fanatics. So come to my buddy Luke Ponto's channel and we'll bring you all the latest movie news starting at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So tune in for that, and I'll see you all later.